We've all seen AI that can write a poem or paint a picture. That's cool. But what if you could take an idea, just a thought, and turn it into a world you could actually play in?
I mean, really think about that for a second. You're not just looking at a picture, you're in it. You're moving around, controlling things inside your own creation. That's the mind-blowing idea we're diving into today.
Okay, look at this. On the left, you've got this super simple drawing, right? It looks like something a kid would scribble in a notebook. But then, bam, on the right, that same doodle is now a playable video game, a living, breathing little world where you can actually control the character. And it's not just for drawings. Check this out. This is a real photo of a dog in a field. And just like that, it becomes a playable level. You can actually move the dog around inside the world of that photograph. How wild is that? This is where it gets really crazy. You can feed it AI-generated art, these wild, fantastical images that only exist in the digital realm, and it turns that into a playable game. The creative possibilities here are just endless. It's staggering. All right, so what is this magic? This thing is called Genie, and it's coming out of Google DeepMind. And it's not just another image generator. They're calling it the world's first generative interactive environment, a totally new category of AI.
But here's the kicker. The really mind-bending part is how it learns to do this. Genie literally just watches tons and tons of internet videos, mostly videos of people playing old-school 2D platformer games. And get this, the videos are all unlabeled. Nobody's telling it, hey, that's a jump, or that's the character moving left. It has to figure out the rules of the game all by itself.
So how on earth does it pull that off? Well, it all comes down to pure, massive scale. The AI model behind Genie has, wait for it, 11 billion parameters.
And what does a number that huge actually mean? It's pretty simple, really. The bigger the model, and the more videos you show it, the better the worlds it creates. They get more stable, more consistent, basically, more fun to play. When it comes to this stuff, size really does matter.
Okay, but that still leaves a huge question, right? If nobody's labeling the videos, how does Genie even know what an action is? How does it figure out jump or run if it doesn't know the words? This is where we get into the secret sauce. It's unsupervised learning.
So the whole system is built around three main parts that work together. Think of it like an assembly line. You feed it raw video on one end, and out the other pops a completely playable world.
So here's the breakdown. Step 1, a video tokenizer looks at the video and basically boils it down to the most important bits of information. Step 2, and this is the clever part, a latent action model looks at 2 frames and figures out what action must have happened in between them. And then step 3, a dynamics model takes that action and predicts what the next frame should look like.
Now, that second step, that's where the magic really is. This idea of a latent action, it's basically a hidden joystick move that the AI just makes up. It watches all these videos and sees a character go from here to here, and it says, okay, that kind of movement, I'm going to call that action 1. It doesn't know it's a jump, it just knows it's a consistent pattern. It's literally discovering the laws of physics for these little game worlds.
The researchers have a perfect way to explain this. Think about it. When you play a new video game for the first time, you don't know what the buttons do, right? You just press X and see what happens. Oh, okay, X is jump. You're learning by doing. That is exactly what it's like to play a world made by Genie. You're discovering what its made-up actions actually do.
Let's make this super clear with an example. So the AI sees 2 pictures. In the first one, a robot arm is up here. In the second, it's down there. The AI knows that the arm didn't just teleport. Something had to have happened to make it move.
Now it has no idea that a person moved a joystick or even what the word down means. All it knows is there was a change. So it just slaps a label on it. Let's call it Action 3.
And here's the payoff. Now, whenever a user selects Action 3, the robot arm reliably moves down. The AI has created a usable, predictable control out of thin air without a single human telling it what to do. That's the breakthrough.
And that robot arm example shows us that this is so much bigger than just making video games. I mean, that's cool, but this isn't just a toy. We're talking about a foundational technology for building any kind of interactive simulation you can dream up. So, when you train Genie on videos of robots, it doesn't just learn move arm left. It starts to pick up on actual physics. It learns how things are supposed to squish, like how a bag of chips would realistically get crushed by a robot hand. It's learning the texture of reality.
What's even wilder are the things it learns by accident.
Without anyone programming it, Genie started figuring out stuff like parallax scrolling, in video games where the background moves slower than the foreground to give you a sense of depth. That tells us it's not just shuffling pixels around, it's actually building a gut feeling for how 3D space works.
But look, the biggest deal here might not even be about creating worlds for us to play in. The most profound use for Genie could be as a tool to train other, even smarter AIs.
See, for an AI to get really smart and general purpose, it needs a sandbox to play in, a world where it can experiment and learn from trial and error. Right now, building those simulated worlds is a ton of work for humans. But with Genie, you could create an endless supply of custom training grounds for other AIs just on the fly.
And they've already tested this. The researchers took a totally separate AI agent, dropped it into a world that Genie created, and that agent taught itself how to play and win the game. This is a huge proof of concept. It's a whole new way to train AIs to be more capable.
So in the end, it's a beautiful loop, isn't it? Genie learns from all the videos of worlds that we humans have created. And in return, it gives us this incredible power to spin up brand new worlds from nothing more than a spark of imagination.
We've talked a lot about the tech, but let's just zoom out for a second. The biggest change here might just be for human creativity. I mean, what happens when making an interactive world is as easy as snapping a picture on your phone? What kind of new art gets created? How does that change the way we learn? And what new stories are we all going to tell?